Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel, and for the last review of November I thought I'd look at one of my older Bishoujo figures. So this is Bishoujo Cammy Alpha version from the Street Fighter franchise. Now you'll notice that it is not in a box and it is out on display right away, and that's because it has been part of my collection for quite some time, and I thought it would be a bit redundant to put it back in its box, film it with the box, and then take it back out. So I just took it off the shelf, plopped it down, and thought we'd do a quick review. Now Bishoujo has been doing these figures for quite some time, not quite sure exactly how long, but it's definitely been a while, and their quality has been pretty consistent across the board. A lot of their early releases were a bit so-so, and the early Street Fighter releases, while I really like them, don't look as good as some of the later ones. Now the Alpha Cammy, I believe it was one of the newer Street Fighter releases, but newer sort of in quotation marks because it was probably like the last 3 to 4 years. I think it was around Street Fighter 5 or end of 4 era was when this was released. And this is Cammy based on her Street Fighter Alpha design. Now I like Cammy, she's got a very good design. I suck at playing her, but pretty much every single design she's ever had has been fantastic. Her original is very classic. Her new Street Fighter 6 design is quite good as well, but I do feel something special about the Alpha design, because I think it's the right blend between Cammy's very revealing standard leotard and having a little bit more going on visually. I like the sort of aqua pale blue, it looks really nice, and I think that just as a colour scheme it works quite well. Now taking a closer look at the figure, you can see all the fantastic sculpt work and paint. It is a very simple pose, but I think it works quite well. There's a lot of well-defined definition in her muscles and outfit, especially on her back. There are some crazy muscles going on right at her shoulder blades, and it is very nice. It is cool that they put so much attention to detail in something that you will very rarely see, and I do appreciate that, especially in the older Bishoujos. All of the other muscle definition on her, it looks fantastic. There is a major feature of Cammy that they have nailed as well. That's right, her twin tails. They are very well sculpted and painted and everything like that, and you can see it nicely from this angle. There's also a lot more simple, subtle detail, like some shading on her actual clothing, the nice sort of satin metallic-ish finish on her gauntlets, the cool little bonus of having the Bishoujo art from Shinya Yamashita as part of her base, which is something that I do miss from a lot of the older Bishoujos. The new designs are cool where they're more unique bases to the characters, like the Transformers ones being Autobot and Decepticon logos, or the Darkstalkers ones being elements of their actual stages. But there is something special about having a very simple base, but something that shows where this character is sort of coming from. And you were able to swap out a lot of these bases for different ones, like you could have the art that Shinya Yamashita did, you could do the logo of the game that they were from, or the property that they were from, and I like things like that. But once again, the design is relatively simple, but I do think it has a bit more going on than her classic outfit, but not as much going on as her Street Fighter 6 design. So there's not that much to do, but it is very easy to get something wrong, and if there was a mistake you would notice it. But everything is perfectly done here, and even if it's been in a cabinet for years and years and years, still looks absolutely fantastic, holds its own against a lot of figures today. I think the Bishoujo art style works quite well for Cammy, and the figure does read as her very clearly, especially because of the sort of doll-like appearance of her face. She's also got her iconic cowlick, and I think it just reads as Cammy from all angles. Like I said, it is a simple design, but I think it nails it perfectly. Now, I believe this was a part 1 of a 2-part sort of figure slash recolor, where they did Alpha Cammy and Decapre from Street Fighter 4, and I didn't get the Decapre one because it was too similar to this Cammy, but it was just about the same pose and a recolor, but I do remember them looking quite distinct because of that. And much like what I said in the Bishoujo Nemesis review, I like it that Bishoujo is usually more than just a repaint. They do actually care to capture what makes that character important. That being said, there are some figures that are straight repaints, but for the most part they try and make them unique. But there's not all that much to say about this figure beyond Sculpt work is amazing, paint work is amazing, the character's amazing, they've captured them perfectly, especially with an art style that is typically unique to one person, and sometimes that art style doesn't translate as well, like you can tell that it's the Bishoujo art style and not sort of like the Street Fighter art style or something like that. I feel like the Bishoujo art style fits Cammy perfectly, and it feels more so just a Street Fighter figure rather than it is a Street Fighter Bishoujo figure, if that makes sense. But once again, another solid release from Kotobukiya Bishoujo, even though we are looking at this figure many years after it's been released. I just thought it'd be fun to look at it. And I have a lot of other Street Fighter figures and a lot of other Bishoujos that I could revisit at some time, if any of you are all interested. But that's all for now. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you all next time.